Also, like, I think it was 17 years ago, Netflix announced that it was moving into streaming video, and it seemed entirely plausible at that moment that Silicon Valley would eventually disrupt Hollywood. But what actually happened, of course, was the reverse. The disaster cascade went this way. You remember it. Netflix built a fast growing streaming video business by licensing shows from existing studios. They were mostly reruns for a while. The biggest shows on Netflix were reruns of Friends and The Office, as well as various iterations of the Law and Order universe. But Netflix realized that the minute these licensing deals expires, the studios would take the shows back and build streaming businesses of their own. So they used their popularity on Wall Street to raise pots of money to make their own shows, in effect becoming a network and a studio and a platform and everything else, so that when those existing licenses ended or expired, they would have created a library of shows to rely on. And because Netflix did this, so did everybody else. And that's why things as ludicrous and unnecessary as Peacock and MGM Plus were created. Now, people will disagree with me here, but people are wrong. And they're disagreeing with a lot of complicated math in the Arthur Devaney book. But listen, Netflix was actually mistaken when they assumed that the studios would stop licensing TV shows and movies to their service. Selling content and licensing titles is what movie studios do. It's about the only way they recoup the vast sums they spend on projects and still spend on projects. The top shows on Netflix were, and in many ways, and many times still are, reruns and old movies. I mean, last summer, the most popular show on Netflix was Suits, a legal comedy drama that appeared on the USA Network in 2011. But instead, they turned themselves into a worst of both worlds behemoth, a studio and a network, which, as Arthur Devaney could have told them, was a very inefficient proposition. And yeah, I know they're doing okay, maybe even doing well. But their move was emblematic of a business that just didn't understand itself, which is why we're living in a world where the yeses just aren't coming. And the yeses are still the only way to make any money.